Almost every coast in Spain has its own alluring name. Costa del Sol, Costa de la Luz, Costa Tropical. To name but a few. The Costa Cálida, the so-called warm coast, which stretches along the entire region of Murcia, is surprisingly one of the lesser known, even though it has some of the most beautiful beaches in the country. It is also a region that can be visited all year round. In the cooler months, you can use a hotel in the capital Murcia as a base to explore the sights of the surrounding area. For a beach vacation, a hotel on the famous Mar Menor, the largest saltwater lagoon in Europe, is ideal. Once there, it's hard to resist the charm of the Costa Cálida, with its bizarre lunar landscapes, secluded bays, ancient monuments and hiking trails through coastal mountain landscapes. It has just about everything you need for an all-round successful vacation. These are the places you shouldn't miss out on. If you like this video, please support our channel with a comment, like or a subscription. Thank you. The capital of the region of the same name is located in a dry but fertile plain on the river Segura. Murcia has 440,000 inhabitants, a significant proportion of whom are students at one of Spain's largest universities. The Segura River, more of a trickle than a proud watercourse in summer, divides the center into a northern and a western half. The Glorieta de España Park with the Casa Consistorial Town Hall and the Palacio Episcopal on the northern bank of the river to the east of the old Puente Viejo bridge forms the southern end of the old town. Behind the Glorieta, in front of the cathedral, is the Plaza del Cardenal Bellega, the center of the historic old town. The square is surrounded by Murcia Cathedral, the Bishop's Palace and a modern extension to the town hall. Restaurants and bars invite you to take a break. Construction of the Cathedral of Santa Maria de Murcia began in the 14th century, but was only completed in the 18th century with its magnificent Baroque facade. The most important streets in the pedestrian zone are Calle Traperia, which begins north of the cathedral and leads past the casino to the Plaza de Santo Domingo, and Calle Plateria, which leads west towards the Plaza de Santa Catalina. On the western edge of the old town, Calle Plateria leads beyond the Gran Via Escultor Francisco Salzillo across the Plaza de Santa Catalina to the Plaza de las Flores. A number of Murcia's most popular bars and restaurants are located around this square. The Gran Via connects the more modern parts of the city with the old town of Caravaca below the hill with the castle complex and the sanctuary. At the northern end of the Gran Via, an archway leads to the Plaza del Arco with a town hall. On the opposite side of the square stands the parish church of El Salvador, 17th century, one of the Renaissance churches typical of the region of Murcia. The square bell tower rises majestically. In contrast, the church interior with the chapels of the town's wealthy families is almost elegant. From here, cobbled alleyways lead up to the originally Moorish fortress. Once at the top, the beautiful Baroque portal of the basilica immediately catches the eye. Caravaca is the end point of a 900-kilometer pilgrimage route that leads from Roncesvalles in the Pyrenees via Puente la Reina and Teruel. The Basilica de la Vera Cruz dates back to the 17th century and has an impressive Baroque portal. The main altar shows the Cross of Caravaca. This double cross is said to contain the original splinter of the wooden cross from the crucifixion of Christ. The church is located right next to the former royal palace, which houses a museum. On the way back, it is worth taking a stroll through the old town of Caravaca. To the south of the Salvador Church, Cala Mayor leads through the historic center. The path leads past stores, monasteries and small chapels until we reach the modern new town again. Its history and geographical location give this municipality a special charm. It lies in the middle of 4 rivers and 2 marshlands and is therefore very favored by its location. The watercourses have an extraordinary charm and visitors can not only enjoy a very varied landscape here, but can also be active in many different ways. The town was founded more than 700 years ago and offers visitors a historical heritage with many special features. Caves with rock paintings, which have been declared Cultural Heritage of Humanity by UNESCO, and sites from the Stone Age to remains from the Hispano-Muslim period, the discoveries of which are exhibited in the Archaeological Museum. The sanctuary of Nuestra Señora de la Esperanza, patron saint of Calasparra, which was carved out of the rock and thus forms a unity with the magnificent landscape on the banks of the Segura, deserves special mention. Rice is another specialty of this municipality. The quality of the different varieties has made Calasparra rice famous all over the world. In Spain, it is the only one with a designation of origin. In the center of the historic old town of Lorca is the Plaza de España Square with the Baroque Casa Constitutional Town Hall. A prison was once housed here. The Renaissance-style collegiate church Colegiata de San Patricio stands to the side. In the neighboring Plaza del Carnio, we stand in front of other beautiful buildings such as the Casa del Corregidor, which now houses a court. Lorca is known for its numerous Baroque-style city palaces, which were built during the city's heyday. One outstanding example is the Palacio de Guevara in Carla Lope Gisbert No. 14, which is now home to the Archaeological Museum. Unfortunately, most of the palaces are not in the best condition. One reason for this may be that the city has been repeatedly hit by severe earthquakes. The last quake in 2011 caused many deaths and hundreds of injuries. The Castillo de Lorca, with its two mighty towers, also known as Fortaleza del Sol, is one of the most important sites in Lorca. The fortification above the town was repeatedly rebuilt between the 9th and 15th centuries. The castle complex had its most important role as a border fortress against the Moorish kingdom of Granada. In addition to the Castillo, the Baroque churches and palaces, there is another attraction that makes the city worth a visit. The city is nationally known for its processions during Easter week, Semana Santa. This small town is located 40 kilometers from Murcia in a fertile valley. The palaces and monuments still show us the wealth that the Count de los Vélez tried to secure from the inhabitants. He built an impressive castle, which is also a magnificent ashlar structure from the 16th century, from which you can let your gaze wander over the whole valley. It seems to be a continuation of the steep rock on which it stands. This town, with its many monuments and its distinctive character, huddles around the Plaza Mayor, where the 16th century church of San Miguel stands out. In the upper part, lost in the narrow streets that make up the town center, stands the church of Santo Domingo with its Renaissance portal and Baroque interior. One of the most beautiful monastery buildings can also be found here, the Real Monasterio de la Encarnación. This place has been inhabited since the Neolithic age. Traces from the Argaric and Iberian periods can also be found in the archaeological sites. Today, the objects are exhibited in the Museum of Iberian Art, one of the best of the Spanish Iron Age, located in the Mina Hermosa Palace. 5 kilometers from the town, in an impressive landscape, are the famous Baños de Mula, which have been used since Roman times and have recently been modernized. They are highly recommended for rheumatic complaints or simply for relaxation. The fabulous nature reserve of Calblanque, Monte de las Cenizas y Peña del Aguilar lies south of the Mar Menor and is home to some of the greatest biodiversity in the Mediterranean. Its scenic beauty is overwhelming and can be explored on wonderful hiking routes. But that's not all. Calblanque also has some of the most beautiful beaches not only on the Costa Cálida, but in the whole of Spain. To protect the park, access by car is restricted and subject to a fee between April and October. Between July and August, you cannot enter the park by car at all but have to take a shuttle bus. However, this should not deter anyone. This unique and diverse natural landscape is a must for anyone who enjoys spending time in the middle of the wilderness on pristine beaches. It feels like the Wild West in these gorges in the western part of the Sierra Espunia, in the heart of the region of Murcia, which form the antithesis to the dense forests on the other side of this mountain range. In these semi-desert and rocky areas, which form a labyrinth of gullies, ravines and jagged rocks, nothing seems to be able to survive the sun and the drought. Nevertheless, there is a very interesting fauna and flora to be observed here, precisely because it has had to adapt to a climate with little rainfall and many hours of daylight. The Algeciras Reservoir with its turquoise blue water from the Segura River basin forms the perfect contrast to this overly beautiful, rugged landscape. The tranquility and majesty of this landscape near the Costa Cálida are like something from another world. The area around Abanilla, often referred to as the Small Desert, is located just half an hour northwest of Murcia. The gentle hills and rocky formations characterize the image of this unique lunar landscape, whose colors are particularly fascinating in the changing light of the sun. In the hot summer months, temperatures climb to over 40 degrees Celsius, which means that only drought-tolerant plants such as esparto grass and cacti as well as adapted animals such as lizards and various desert birds can survive in this environment. Spend a few nights in this place, which exudes an amazing sense of peace and tranquility despite its proximity to the city of Murcia. The small Abanilla Desert also offers a gigantic starry sky, which perfectly complements the nocturnal tranquility of the desert-like landscape and allows us to enjoy the untouched beauty of this area to the full. Located between the municipalities of San Pedro del Pinatar and San Javier, this wetland area on the Costa Cálida covers 856 hectares, including 6 kilometers of Mediterranean coastline, and is a protected natural and regional park of special ecological interest. Due to its importance as a nesting and resting place for numerous bird species and its biodiversity in general, this oasis of peace is a very popular place for nature lovers. A short tour of the salt pans at dawn, when they shimmer in a variety of colors, is particularly beautiful. Cycle paths with informative information boards also lead through the wetlands, which also offer natural beaches and therapeutic mud baths. The Costa Cálida has a truly unique place from a geographical point of view, the so-called Mar Menor, the smaller sea, a 170 square kilometers saltwater lagoon separated from the Mediterranean by a 24 kilometers long spit called La Manga. It is the largest saltwater lagoon in Europe and a special place for a beach vacation in every respect. With its fine white sand and a water temperature that varies between 16 degrees Celsius in winter and 28 degrees Celsius in summer, the beaches of the Mar Menor are characterized by their shallow waves and are ideal for relaxing days at the beach with the whole family. But walks along La Manga, where you can see the Mar Menor on one side and the open Mediterranean on the other, also have an indescribable charm. If you like wild, rugged coastlines, the Puntas de Calnegre will be your paradise. Nestled in the Sierra de la Almenara, Las Moreiras y Cabo Coke Natural Park, its 17 kilometers of coastline offer an incomparable experience. Unlike many other beaches on the Costa Cálida, which are characterized by their shallow waters and family-friendly facilities of all kinds, the beaches of Puntas de Calnegre are completely natural and wild. Unlike many other beaches on the Costa Cálida, the beaches of Puntas de Calnegre are completely natural and wild. The best way to discover this natural paradise is on a hike from the village of Puntas de Calnegre to Playa de Pachelis, where we can enjoy large rock formations, cliffs and breathtaking coves. Purchele's beach itself is nestled between mountains, with crystal clear sea, fine white sand and palm trees on the horizon. A place to forget the world around you. Located 72 kilometers from the capital, Mazarrón is best known for the landscapes and beautiful coastline that surround it. With a total of 35 kilometers of beaches and coves, unreal rock formations, underwater caves and the remains of past civilizations, it is one of the must-see places on the Costa Cálida that you should not miss during your vacation in Murcia. One of the main attractions are the rock formations of the Grietas de Bolnuevo or Enchanted City of Bolnuevo, as these impressive yellow rocks are called by the locals. They were formed by millions of years of erosion and are now a protected natural monument. A visit is not only worthwhile for the Grietas themselves, but also for the peaceful atmosphere and picturesque surroundings. Anyone visiting the region of Murcia should not miss out on this natural wonder. There are two beautiful, quiet sandy beaches nearby, Playa de Bolnuevo and Cala del Rincón. In the very south of the Costa Cálida, just before the border with Almería, you will find this coastal strip, which is characterized by its beautiful and particularly varied beaches. No two of the 35 beaches are the same, each with its own type of sand, its own colors and its own specific landscape. From small, dreamy coves and untouched stretches of sand to urban beaches with complete facilities for families, such as the one in Águilas itself. Add to this beautiful spots of nature, such as the popular tamarisk grove, with which the coast is dotted, and they make it the perfect place to put the icing on the cake of your vacation in Murcia. The city with the melodious name is one of the oldest settlements on the Spanish Mediterranean coast. 5 hills mark the historical center of the city of Cartagena in the region of Murcia. The hills, together with the natural harbor, offered ideal conditions for trade and at the same time protection of the wealth through strong fortifications. Added to this were the silver and ore mines in the surrounding area, which brought in additional money and goods for export. Iberians, Phoenicians and Romans shaped the ancient history of Cartagena. 3,000 years of city history is a long time, during which much simply disappears into the ground, is built over and forgotten. It was a sensation when the ruins of a Roman theatre were discovered in 1988 during construction work for a shopping center right next to the cathedral, which had been destroyed in the Spanish Civil War. Built in 44 BCE, the Teatro Romano could seat up to 7,000 people, making it one of the largest on the Iberian Peninsula. This discovery offered the opportunity for a reorientation of the city, which had lost thousands of jobs due to the final decline of the mining industry. Visitors to Cartagena are well advised to start their tour of the well-arranged old town on the Paseo Marítimo along the harbor, just like the cruise ships that often dock here. In front of the historic city wall, the predominantly modern temples of culture such as the Auditorium El Batlle, the National Museum of Underwater Archaeology Aqua, the Museo Naval of the Spanish Navy and the modern buildings of the university present themselves in a row.